What has a 100% chance of happening in the next 50 years? A deep fake of a politician being mistaken for an actual political statement. Halley's Comet. Beat me to it. Halley's Comet will return in 2061. But that's not in 50 years. Oh wait, it is. God dang, time is flying so fast. Trillionaires coming into existence. George Martin still won't have finished the Game of Thrones books. I came here for laughs, not tears. Rolling Stones final tour. If you had asked me in 1970 for when I was 19, if I thought the Stones would still be doing live shows 50 years from now, would have asked for some of what you were smoking cause it's the good shit. I've heard they're making some great strides in Alzheimer's research. Maybe something good can turn out from that in 50 years. People will be complaining about the music of that day and look back at everything before that with rose-colored glasses. Another anniversary edition of Skyrim, and maybe a 50% chance of Elder Scrolls 6 being released in that period. YouTube will somehow manage to get even worse terms of service agreements. In 2074, YouTube's terms of service will just be a single checkbox that says, "I surrender my firstborn child." In 50 years, teenagers will be rolling their eyes at their parents' ancient 2020s memes while using slang that makes it sound like Shakespeare. A well-known YouTuber, streamer will be ousted for having an illicit relationship with one or more underage fans. Hell, that's likely to happen within the next 50 days. The Leafs not winning the Stanley Cup. I like to think the pain has made me stronger. Another war in the Middle East. Does it still count as another one if it just never ends? The worst hurricane in history. The Earth revolving around the Sun 50 times. The last living Holocaust survivor, World War II veteran, and Korean War veteran will all pass away. No Vietnam War veteran will be alive either. The youngest Vietnam War veteran was born in 1957, so in 50 years would be 117. Very improbable that there will be any survivors of that age. Someone who fought in the first Iraq-Kuwait War would be 100. The number remaining will be in single digits. Joe Biden and Donald Trump will both die. Future historians will be debating their legacies during breaks at the Robot Gladiator Championships. GTA 6 will be released. Debatable. Drake getting arrested for crimes against women and children. At-home medical diagnosis. We're going to have testing machines or blood samplers that will tell us what's wrong, and we'll teleconference with doctors and won't have to leave our homes. Can I invest early? A depression of unseen proportions around the world. Tensions will be a thing of the past, and most people will not be able to retire before their funeral. Future plans. Monday, work. Tuesday, work. Wednesday, work overtime. Then die off the clock at home. Thursday, half day off for the funeral. Friday, work regularly. Saturday, make up for the missed half day on Thursday. Wars over water. This is both the most realistic and the most terrifying. A TikToker landing on Mars, never to be heard of again. Can we vote for a specific TikToker to be involuntarily sent to Mars? The struggle to survive with greedy companies is going to hit a tipping point. Everything is getting more expensive, while the wages we are paid stay relatively the same. It's already a serious problem, and it will only get worse. We all know this. Chances are the tipping point will be way before we hit the 50-year mark. Ownership will become a thing of the past. Software is currently well down the subscription road. Eventually, every company will devise a way to lock you into perpetual payments. You won't buy a car. You will learn one for 3 years, then be forced into a mandatory upgrade. Housing will all be rental. There is already a growing trend of developing entire neighborhoods of rental houses. Want to buy a TV? It will come with a year of the manufacturer's proprietary software and will require a subscription. After that, don't want to subscribe? No problem that Netflix and Hulu and Prime and Peacock and every other streaming platform will require the update before they will work on your TV. The GDP per capita around the world will rise after inflation, and this will lead to an enormous increase in energy consumption. This will increase demand for all sorts of energy, including both renewables and fossil fuels. In the near term 5 to 10 years, you can expect to see coal consumption rise in the emerging world. Except that solar is cheaper and requires much less infrastructure than coal, as it can be decentralized and thus more robust. I expect renewables to occupy much more of a percentage. Another pandemic. Cholera pandemic 18161820, Great Flu pandemic 19181920, COVID-19 2020 to 2021. They've been pretty consistently every 100 years for the past 200. Here's hoping we stick to the average. MySpace will make an epic comeback. Tottenham still haven't won a trophy. To be fair, neither has Harry Kane. Advertisements will become more invasive. You'll be driving to work and hit a mandatory road checkpoint where your vehicle is disabled to watch a 60-second ad for the NordVPN Manscaped testicle trimmer slit wallet presented by Liberty Mutual Car Insurance. Then it is enabled again, and you can continue driving. Ads will get integrated into cars' heads-up displays and other items. Even if you've purchased them, you will also be forced to watch an ad at the gas pump before it will be able to deliver the gas you will also pay for. Ownership term will slowly disappear in poor and middle class, and everything will be subscription-based. That's more like the next 20 years. Quantum computers will crack all kinds of encryption in milliseconds, and no password is truly safe. The only secure method would be a biometric anal probe that the users have to insert into their anus to authenticate any transaction. Lubricant company stocks will go to the moon. The evil, corrupt people who are tormenting us now will be dead. And instead we'll have a new generation of evil and corrupt people to torment us. I'm shocked no one has said anything about climate change. In the next 50 years, there is a 100% chance of the average temperature of the world going up by at least 1°C, of more extreme weather events such as floods, heat waves and forest fires happening, and the rise of sea levels due to melting glaciers. If India keep going the way they're going with Hindu nationalism, they'll have a religiously motivated civil war in the future, or at least a large and potentially volatile secessionist movement from their 200 million Muslim citizens. Climate change becoming more disastrous and causing a huge impact on the society. Energy being a major concern. The average quality of life in developed countries becoming worse. US losing more and more rights and freedoms. Maybe not 100%, but I am convinced there is at least 95% chance that we will see a nuclear warhead used offensively. I don't think it will cause a nuclear holocaust, but I do think it will change the world as we know it. I really hope I am wrong though. Oil will no longer be the dominant form of energy consumed by society. As millennials and Gen Z age into political office, it will become normal, if not expected, that their dick pics get leaked during every single election. Every time people on the opposite side will feign outrage about it while pretending it's not a big deal when it happens to their side. It'll go from shocking to see a president's dick to mundane in 50 years easily. We'll have most major politicans junk as public domain by then, sadly. The great wealth transfer will happen in 2 decades. Baby boomers and most of Gen X will eventually die and pass down their wealth to millennials and Gen Z. However, the total wealth is unequally distributed among the boomers. The wealthiest 1% own as much as the bottom 90%. So this will be a classic case of the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer. The wholesale demographic collapse of China, Russia, Japan, and a lot of Western and Eastern Europe. The numbers are already in place. An American Civil War, not saying it lightly, encountered way too many sympathies and wants of violence from people. Aside from that, general expectation. I hope I'll be wrong. Most people wanting this war and violence would die of a 2 minutes like dot, never mind dying in a battle. No worries. Windows 11 will no longer be supported. All the nukes will be dismantled. We'll have a much cleaner weapon of mass destruction. The Democratic and Republican Party will switch agendas again. Millennial Democrats will hearken for their antiquated progressive ideals, and millennial Republicans will be more interested in a neo-progressive get the fuck off Earth agenda because God said so, or whatever. An actor we thought was extremely wholesome and could do no wrong ends up in prison. E-commerce is the only type of commerce. I think the uncontrolled migration and the religions will cause a lot of damage. Also, the housing problems will get bigger and bigger. The wealth, the order, and the so beloved Western world advantages will be lost. The richer will get even richer, and the middle class will die out slowly. Only rich, poor PPL will remain. Thanks for watching. Share your stories in the comments.